G'day everyone. Thought that I'd take you through some shots that I recently did with the iPhone X Max. I wanted to try the portrait mode. I did do a test between the Sony a7 III and the iPhone X Max just to see how they sort of compared, and obviously the a7 III was much better, but it's interesting how good the iPhone actually has become, and for a lot of people it may be good enough, and this is the interesting thing. Look, I certainly would never use it in a professional shoot or anything like that, but for a lot of people out there that are just shooting for their Instagram feeds or Facebook feeds or things like that, the iPhone definitely is good enough in that regard. And I thought I'd take you through a couple of shots. I did also do a similar shot with the Sony, but I didn't really do this deliberately to compare the two because I was using the 85 at the time because I was doing the shoot with Kiara. And then I also shot off with the iPhone just to see how it looks straight out of the iPhone camera. So they can't really be compared directly against one another because the iPhone was using, I think it's the 6mm or the wide angle lens, whereas the a7 III was using the 85 lens, so the compression is going to be completely different. So I don't want you to look at that, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things in the differences of how they both looked. So anyway, let's have a look at some of the images themselves, and I'll open this first one up and you can have a look. So this one was shot with the iPhone X. Now I did want to shoot this time in portrait mode, so I obviously couldn't get RAW. The second you shoot in portrait mode, I think they automatically shoot to JPEG. But it's quite good, the result that I'm getting in the background here. You know, you are getting that nice blurred out background over here. You know, and obviously it's nice and sharp through the front, but you're getting that nice blurred background through the back. The only area where I say that you can sort of see the difference is it is a little bit hard, and it hasn't done a bad job though, but if you look right on the edges through here, you can see it's a little bit hard on the separation between the two. I suppose it's got to use software to make that depth of field look that you're getting there, but it really hasn't done a bad job. And just to show you what the a7 III looks like, I'll bring that up and you'll see the difference. I mean, it is like chalk and cheese if you're looking here. In the softness that you're getting in that background through here is beautiful and soft on those edges. You're getting a much nicer look with the hair and things like that. But you know what, for the average user out there, you could probably post this and they'd be more than happy with that. And that's an interesting thing that's happening here. And, you know, it does make me wonder about where the future's going to be. Obviously, the compression is completely different here because I'm using the 85mm focal length, though, and the bokeh obviously is much nicer. But, you know, it's quite a good result that you're getting there without any editing. These are directly out of camera, so there's no editing done here at all. And I'm really quite happy with it. We then moved down to shooting under these trees, which was interesting. This is the a7 III. This is just to give you a bit of context about how the shoot was. It was quite challenging for the camera. So again, these are straight out of camera. You can see these trees formed an arc right over Kiara. And this one was shot closer, which is sort of what I've done with the iPhone. In a minute, you'll see it there. And again, the a7 III gives you that beautiful separation on the edges. You know, you're getting that beautiful softness sort of there with no artifacts coming around the outside because there's no software being used to make that separation. If we look at the iPhone, for instance, here, you can see it doesn't match what the a7 III has, but again, it's given a nice result. The separation is a little bit harder in the hair. If you look sort of around, you can sort of see that there is a little bit of blurring around the edges, and the separation on the hair around here, you can sort of see that it's a lot harder and not as soft, in other words, in that fall off, because it's got to basically guess, I suppose, about where it can do that separation. But again, it's done a very good job. And if you look at these next images that we're going to look at here, it's really quite good straight out of camera. It really is. It's lovely and sharp. The images look nice. The color is very good. When you think I haven't changed anything at all here to get these results, it really has given, you know, quite a nice result. And I was surprised really how well it does come out straight out of camera for things like headshots and things like that when you're using that portrait mode. And you can see that it is quite soft. It looks lovely. And like I said to you, most people who are shooting and using this just for their selfies or whatever, would be more than happy to have a look at this. And I could edit these in Photoshop and make these look quite beautiful. Even though I think they're quite good as they are. But, you know, it is interesting. It's interesting to see what's going to happen in the future as these cameras obviously get better and better. But overall, I mean, I think particularly for headshots, if you can use that portraiture, it does give you that nice separation that you sort of get by using a 1.8 lens on a conventional mirrorless or digital SLR camera. I'm not saying it's as good, and I know you're going to get people on here immediately saying, look, it's not as good as a high-end camera. I'm not saying it is, but what I'm saying is that it may be good enough for a lot of people out there to get really good results. I'd love to know what you think about that. You know, I was quite surprised how well it actually went, and I think each generation of these cameras is getting better and better. And I really was quite surprised with how nice those images look straight out of that camera without any editing at all. And I was really quite pleased with it. It does make me sort of think, well, you know, if I'm just doing normal photos, just walking around or whatever, would I almost ever bother taking my mirrorless cameras and bigger setups when I could just use the iPhone and get those sort of results? I'll be interested to know what you guys think. Let me know down below because I'm really curious to know what you think. And I'll see you all again soon for the next video. Bye, guys.